welcome to the Insurance Buzz. This is your host, Michael Weaver, and I am pumped about today's guest, Mr. Nick Sakha. Nick, how are you today, my man?
I'm doing excellent, my man. Thank you for asking.
Absolutely, brother. So, I always start the conversation off with, who was Nick before insurance?
Nick before insurance was just a driven dude, man. I was in banking for 7 years. I was going through the motions as a banker, kind of moving up the corporate ladder, and I was finishing my degree, my UNLV. I'm here in Las Vegas, and so I was finishing my business degree. Took me 7.5 years. And I wanted to quit banking the entire time, but I finally, once I had that degree, was able to quit and take a leap into the unknown. I didn't even jump into insurance right away. Fumbled around, lost what was left of my savings account, and then started my Allstate insurance office, and the rest is history.
All right, brother. So let's dive into that a little bit. What do you mean you lost the rest that you had in your savings account? Because I've been following you for a little bit, brother. Like, so you're 5 years in. You're kicking ass, taking names right now. So, but it doesn't sound like that's how it started.
No. So I fell into insurance by accident, as I'm sure a lot of people did. Because I don't think a lot of people are like I want to grow up and be an insurance agent. I'm pretty sure that doesn't happen to a lot of people. It certainly didn't happen with me. And when I quit banking, I went to go work with a business client of mine, and I'm grateful for him, even though it didn't work out. He gave me the confidence to quit my career in banking, which was 7 years, which wasn't an easy task, but I quit. I went to go work with him, and I was selling, you ready for this? I was selling mobile app technology, where I was going door to door or business to business. I was cold calling. So one day I'd focus on bakeries. Another day I'd focus on bars. I would just Google companies and look up the About Me section and just give these companies a call to try to get a hold of the owner. Like, I would act like I knew who the owner was. So if I saw that a Phil created this donut shop, I'd be like, "Hey, is Phil there? Let me speak to Phil." And I would try to act like I know this person. And that didn't last long. So after about 90 days, about 3 months, just didn't feel it. I was like, this isn't right, And it didn't help that it just didn't feel right. I'm just going to keep it simple. And I had about $4,000 in my savings account when I quit the bank career, because I was paying for school as I would go. Like, I wouldn't want to go into debt to finish my degree, so I had about $4,000 to my name, and I ran out of that pretty quickly in that 3-month span. Started inheriting some debt, just credit cards and stuff, and I did have a 401k that I contributed, and the bank that I was working at was matching it, and so I did have a little bit of a cushion. One of my buddies was with me at the banking. He was a banker as well, and he left, and so he had about 1.5 years of agency owner experience, and he invited me out to Topgolf one time. He's like, "Nick, you should open up an agency. Like, you could do this." And I'm like, "But I've never managed people. I don't even know what insurance is. Like, I've never managed people. I've never ran a business before, and I don't have any insurance experience. What do you mean you think I could do this?" And so I did. I cashed out the 401k, and at the time I was lucky. It only took $25K to show in capital to start an agency, and so that's that. Fast forward today, we're crushing it, man. It's been a long time coming. We have 3 offices here in town, about $11 million book of business now, and we're number 1 in Nevada right now as well. Number 7 in the West Coast, which I'm like, this is crazy. Like, I've never been number 1 in anything in my life.
Dude, that's so badass, man. Congrats. Like, I love that. So you went from in 5 years. This is really amazing. You went from starting, never owned a business, never managed people. The story's actually, I mean, I think some people are lucky enough to maybe run some businesses, but yeah, it's a very similar young guy, figured it out, and now you own 3 businesses, $11 million book of business, top agent, Allstate agent in the country. Like that's impressive, brother. Congrats.
Yeah, number one in Nevada and number 7 on the West Coast. Which there's a lot of killer agents, man. We're not at that number 1 spot yet, but we're getting there. Little baby steps, you know.
The thing I love about what you said is yet, brother. You're motivated. You're driven. I get that. So I do have a question though. So you're banking. So taking you back, banking, door to door marketing. What did you learn during that 7.5 year period of your life that you think really helped you in the business today?
Yeah, so in banking, there were managers that I was a part of. The majority of my time in banking, I was on the losing team, but I was always like the number 1 guy at the losing branch. Like when the branch rankings came out, like we were always like either the worst or the second to worst. But it wasn't because of me. I just think I didn't have that right leadership. And so I got to work with managers that did it, that were cool, but we weren't competent. And then I got to work with managers that weren't as cool, caring, but not as cool, but effective. And so I got to really learn what I liked in certain leaders and what I didn't like in certain leaders. And then I would say what I really learned in banking and what I'm grateful for, because I didn't like I just hated corporate-y stuff, man. I just can't stand corporate meetings, minimum expectations meetings, and I just hated corporate. And one of the things that I did learn though was operations. I learned customer service and I learned sales. Right? We did everything in the in-store world. Like you were literally the ATM tellers. You're the tellers, right? In-store banking where it's like you're the tellers. You're cross-selling while you got people in front of you, and then you have to make sure that operationally you're sound. You can't deposit a bad check, and you got to balance your ATM, your drawers, and then audits would happen. So someone's, once or twice a year, you got an auditor coming to your branch, making sure you're on your P's and Q's. And I would say that was huge because operations is a big thing for me, and it wasn't always my strength. I've always been just the visionary, but I think that background certainly helped, and the combination of just learning from good and bad leaders really paid dividends for where I'm at right now.
Yeah, man, I love that. You learn the things you didn't necessarily like in corporate America, but you also learn the importance of systems from what it sounds like, which is what a lot of small business owners really, really struggle with, as you know.
Yeah. No, for sure. I took things and my buddy, God bless him, because he was a manager in banking before he opened up his agency. So he had all the management documents, write-up forms, minimum expectation forms, all sorts of different documents, coaching forms, coaching sheets, right? So he took everything from when he was a manager at the bank, and he was, kind enough to share those documents with me. And so, who I am today is certainly a reflection of me being resourceful and having a lot of good people, because I'm not the sharpest tool, man. I'm just very driven and willing. I'm very willing, and I'm shameless with self-promotion. I'll put myself out there, and I think that's really my only superhero traits, if you may.
Yeah, brother, I love that. So tell me, because you have a really great social media presence, all right? So driven, motivated, always learning. If you have any agency owners out there listening right now, because anybody that knows Michael Weaver knows I'm a huge proponent of using social media to really deliver your brand, to establish that know, like, trust factor via the internet, It's free a lot of times. Yes, you can pay people to do it for you, but you could also do it yourself if you don't have the budget for that. What would be some tips you would give that you've found? Because your branding's really, I mean, your branding's on point, brother. Like you're good. So what are some tips you would give that, hey, somebody's just starting off, you need to be doing this?
Yeah, I think it's ever changing for sure. TikTok comes out now, and people have the impression that it's like, now I gotta dance, I gotta point at things and do all this like silly stuff. So it is always changing, but what I have found is for insurance, and what has helped me tremendously is Facebook and Instagram. TikTok hasn't so much helped me with that per se. I mean, I am going to get to a point where I'm running ads with the content that I'm doing. I haven't run ads on my content yet. I've just been all organic. But the best thing that you can do is turn your camera on and just hit record. And even if it's something as simple as you walking into your office and saying, "What's up, everybody? I'm here till 6 p.m. today. Hit me up for a quote," or show your agency logo, or take a picture of your coffee and say, I'll pay for your coffee if you get a quote with me today. Like, just do something. And I would also caution you to not make what the stuff that you post all about insurance. People want to see a day in your life. They want to see what you're up to. I just hired a new guy, and he's all pumped up, fired up, and he's posting everything insurance, and I'm like, Alex, chill out with the insurance stuff. Like, post you at the gym later. You know what I mean? Like, post you at the gym later, post some success quotes, post something funny, just don't keep it all insurance, because then people are going to become numb to you, and you're going to become that guy, that salesy, you don't want to be that guy either. So just document. I think just the easiest thing is just document. You build a brand. I don't care if you have 300 followers or 3,000 followers. Just take those little steps to document your journey. People love the story. You know what I mean? This is why The Rock is where he's at today. This is why Kim Kardashian's where she's at today. Right? People knew The Rock from wrestling, and then he, slowly elevated and got into acting, and then he's become the number one influencer kind of person in the world. And then Kim Kardashian, she has Keeping Up with the Kardashians. So it's essentially her just documenting her life, right? I mean, they got a whole crew, of course, but her documenting her life and her telling the audience, like, this is my life, this is my relationships, this is my family drama, this is that, and this is some businesses that I'm getting ready to start. I'm going to go model for this company. And then by the time that business launches, everybody knows about that business because she told you that she was going to start this, via her show. And then everybody flocks to go and support makeup lines or whatever. And the products aren't even like the greatest products, right? It's like The Rock's tequila is not the greatest tequila. It's just his audience. He's built an audience. He's built a brand, and people want to support. They want to support that. So I think the insurance industry, I don't think that I'm that excellent at social media, if I'm being honest. I think the insurance industry is just pretty bad at it. And so I just stand out like a sore thumb.
No, man, I love that, because you talk about, what you got to show up is exactly what you're saying. Like, show up. And I agree with you. Like, I know a lot of people, I see a lot of agents right now hitting on the TikTok world. The problem I find in the TikTok world is that you're attracting people in states that you really, and so unless you're going to provide an extreme amount of value, that's one thing. And if that's what you're trying to do, but if you're really trying to brand yourself in your local community, your state, I'm with you. I think your Facebook and your Instagram are the best for insurance professionals. So I love that you touched base on that. And I think the other thing that's really important that you hit on, and this is something that we really talk about a lot. My wife, Courtney, she's a branding expert, but figuring out your brand pillars, okay? Just like your new guy. Oh, yeah, he's motivated. Like, I love the fact that he's motivated. He's like, I want everyone to know what I'm doing. But how can you get people to follow your story? How can you get people to know you, like you, trust you? build commonalities with them with the things you like to do. Like if he's out playing pickleball, post a pickleball picture. If he's whatever he's doing, and that's the same thing anyone listening to this right now. Look, if you're making 3 posts a week, at least two of those need to be personal, like pictures of your family, pictures of whatever you're comfortable with, whatever brand you want to establish. Try to figure out the 3 to 5 things that are important to you. And yeah, insurance is one of those. Financial advisor is one of those. But what else are you about?
Yeah. What else do you enjoy doing, right? What else comes natural to you? You could be just a giant UFC buff, right? Like look at Joe Rogan. He is a comedian, podcaster, UFC fanatic. Right? Yep. Those are his 3 pillars. And then maybe like, doing mushrooms and stuff like that, psychedelics and stuff. For sure. You know what I mean? But those are his pillars, So if he were to be all UFC, he wouldn't be where he's at today. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, no, I love that, man.
And I love that because you're right. Like and you don't even have to be good at it. Here's the thing. Like, you don't have to be good at it. You just have to show people. You have to be willing to be vulnerable enough to just show people. Like, just like you said, great. Bam, snap a picture of you and drinking a coffee, post it on your story. It takes 30 seconds to do. All of a sudden, you have 300 people looking at it every single day. When their freaking bill comes in the mail and their rate went up 10%, who's the first person they're thinking of? It's top of mind, top of sight. If you can be in 300, 500, 1,000 people every day, that is the best marketing you will ever do.
I love sharing this story because, and I hope it resonates with somebody, is I have 2 of my really good friends that started their insurance agencies before me. One started 2 years, one started 1 year before me. And we all knew the same people from the bank, right? And I'll never forget when the employee of one of my buddies got a life insurance policy with me. And so he's offended. He's like, Juan got his life policy with you? Like, I used to be his boss. Like, I was his manager at the bank. What do you mean he got it with you? And I'm like, dude, I don't know. Like, that's crazy. I'm playing dumb. But in my mind, I know exactly why. It's because my social media presence. Right? I'm front of mind. I post funny, just day in the life stuff, and I mix it up. But best believe that you're going to see me ask you for an insurance quote. Like every other day, like clockwork. Hey, hit me up for a quote. Hit me up for a quote. Who's overpaying? Yep. Like who's and you always got to lead. You always got to grab people's attention with price. I don't sell on price. But you got to grab people's attention with price, Now, but he was pissed because, like, what do you mean Juan got his life policy with you? And that's because of social media. I didn't even know Juan, right? I don't even know Juan, but I vaguely knew him from the bank, and we followed each other. And he saw my stuff every day. So
I got to ask, because a lot of it. So, are you doing it yourself, or are you paying somebody to do it? Okay.
Now I'm paying someone to do it.
Yep.
And it wasn't always that way.
And that's the thing I always try to reiterate, because that was social media. When I had an agency, so Facebook, Google, and referrals. Those were my 3 main lead sources. Like we were getting, when you average those 3, we were getting 75 to 100 quotes a month just from those 3 things, which literally costs nothing. Like I was paying an SEO company, which my brother does that now, but it's okay, for $250 a month, you're getting 100 quotes. Like you tell me what you can do for $250 a month. I mean, it's wild to me. I love that you have really grasped that, because I feel like that's still something the agency world really struggle with, is how do you maximize a social media platform with showing your life but not coming across as that salesy used car salesman. I think so. Kudos to you, man.
Yeah, and I know that it's not easy, and it can be distracting, But I encourage my team to I know it's not for everybody because not everybody wants to show their personal life, and so, but there's also a way to do it to where your life can still be private, and your people will still know about you, and so, my best advice for people is just start with being the positive person because people love positive people. If you're not sure where to start, just start with being the positive person. Like share feel good stories, share funny stuff, share I can tell you what not to share. Stay very far away from politics, from you know the world health crisis that we experienced the last couple years. Stay away from that stuff. And trust me, like I think the last few years brought out a side of a lot of us that none of like a lot of us probably aren't proud of. But try to stay away from that stuff. But also be careful with what you're consuming. And the reason being is because if you're consuming that stuff, then the algorithm is you're telling the algorithm that you want to see more of this stuff, right? And so if you lean like let's just say if we're talking politically, if you lean left, the algorithm's going to feed you all this left type material and content. If you lean right, it's going to feed you all this right wing stuff, and it's going to make you feel like you're right, and then it just never ends well. Like I've caught myself where I've like reshared something, and I'm like, yeah, this has nothing to do with anything, and I'm like, so time to take this down, you know, and and so. But start with being just the positive person, and you'll find your voice. You'll find your pillars, if you may. But start with just being the positive person and sharing just good stuff. Some people aren't good on video either, but other people are really good writers. Like they're really good writers, and so I've seen people do an excellent job of just typing out their thoughts and what they're going through and their emotions, and you know. And like you kind of said a little bit earlier, it's okay to be vulnerable and talk about maybe some challenges because social media otherwise is just people's like highlight reels, and I post my bad months, I'll post our good months, and I'll post our bad months and say we got work to do, you know, and people feel that, they resonate with that, and I get more messages when I post something I'm struggling with than when I'm posting something I'm like rocking.
Dude, I love that you hit on that. That's because yeah, social media is people's highlight reels. Like social media, yes, it's real, but you're only seeing the good parts. Like, you're not seeing the struggle areas most people go through. And so, I dig you say that, and I also dig I think, look. I was one of those guys. I still am one of those guys. If someone's posting political shit all the time, if someone's posting stuff that gives me like a negative visceral effect, regardless if I believe in it or not, they're getting muted, might be unfriended, definitely unfollowed for sure. Like I don't need to see your stuff. Like, and in the insurance world, and as a business owner, look, you have your thoughts, but if your thoughts automatically eliminate 50% of the population that aren't going to do business with you, that's a big freaking deal.
Yeah. Yep. I'll never forget. I have a funny story about. I'll never forget. Somebody reached out to me. Somebody reached out to me and had like some big household. I'm talking like 5 cars, a boat, toys, rental properties, the whole nine, right? And I will never forget this because it was a lesson learned. I posted something that was like funny. It was funny, but it was kind of like a poke at, you know, I won't even say the president, right? But it was one of the presidents, right? I won't I won't say which one. But it was more funny than anything, right? It wasn't like you wouldn't be able to tell that I leaned in any certain direction. And I'll never forget I see this person's comment on the post, and it's like, wow, blah 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 blah, and I was like, I didn't say it or do anything. I just thought this was a funny post. Anyways, I click on her profile because I was just waiting for her information. She reached out to me for a bunch of quotes. I click on her profile, and then it says add friend, and I was like, oh, she unfriended me. I was like, oh, I just lost a big deal because I posted something. You know what I mean? And I could have done without that, right? But when you sell insurance specifically, our product is for everybody, especially, PNC, or whether you focus on commercial. Our product's for everybody. And you don't want to alienate half of your audience
Yeah.
because of, something. Two things to probably, they say never to bring up these two subjects, and, which are what religion and politics, they say. Just try to stay away from those subjects. Yeah, but be respectful. But just be respectful. You know what I'm saying? Just be respectful of people's beliefs and everything, and keep your opinions to yourself. Post good stuff. I find that my strength is with humor. If I can make people laugh, their guards go down. They're the easiest clients to work with because, I'm kind of pivoting here. Humor has been one of my pillars. It makes doing business with people so much easier if you can make people laugh. But deeper than just attracting people that need insurance quotes and things like that, I was telling you before we got started, social media for me has helped attract good quality employees, people that are my sales managers, people that are my, just some of my top employees have come from somebody that saw my hiring post. Just organic, hey, I'm hiring, we are looking to fill positions, yada, yada, yada. So good people have come from it. Connections have come from it, hence why you and I are connected right now, and you've given me this privilege of being on your show. And vendors, right? Vendors, they will, if they see that you have a good following, they may give you preferable pricing because they want you to shout them out. It's the same reason why, like, foodies, people that are, their whole Instagram or Facebook is dedicated to food, or TikTok, you can eat for free at the restaurants because comping that meal is way cheaper than paying for ads to get people to come, to your restaurant, right? So it's the same thing. So you get, so there's a lot of really awesome things that come from building a personal brand, better employees, clients, and friendships, and vendors, and and opportunities that you wouldn't even think of. Just stuff that comes your way.
I'm with you, brother, man. We getting buzzed on the buzz today. I tell you what, man. Like, and the reason that social media, that was always my number one recruiting tool. Always, 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 still is today. And I don't think, it's because when you show a fun environment and you show a high achieving, successful environment, success attracts success and fun attracts people. Like, people want to be part of something that is fun, that is going places, that is motivating, that is accomplishing things at a high level. And that's exactly what you're doing and you're showing. And man, I love that for you.
Yes, that hits it. You can get people to share your opportunity. Let's just say if we're talking about hiring, you can get people to share your opportunity if they can see how fun your environment is. A simple thing that I do that for some reason people just love food, man. I don't do a good job of it anymore. I used to do it a lot, but like I would, before Instacart and I could order groceries, I would go to Costco and buy a bunch of food and snacks for my office. I just believe in them having something to snack on, right? I don't want them replacing their meals with it, right? Like, I don't want to walk by their desk and they're having lunch with 4 Hot Pockets and, a bag of chips. But I like to provide snacks. But by posting that I get snacks for my office, people eat that stuff alive. I don't know what it is. And they're like, wow, I wish my boss did that. And so something as simple as just showcasing or posting a little quick story or a photo of, getting snacks for the office or energy drinks or whatever, that will help you whenever you say I'm hiring, and people will like reshare that, like, this is a great boss, this is a great
I
this
love
and
that, man.
So, yeah.
And we're gonna wrap this up, but for a tangible, for any of you, because when talking to agency owners, team members, I always get the question, well, Michael, what should I post? Like, what's my content? Look, guys, just what here's a really easy 3-step approach to every single week. You could do a Motivation Monday post where you post a positive quote. You could do a Wisdom Wednesday quote or post where you post something about the insurance, educating people. And then you could do a Fun Friday where you take a picture of the office, you post a whatever, and ask people what they're doing. So you try to get engagement. Right there's an easy 3-step process every single week. Monday Motivation, Wisdom Wednesday, Fun Friday, start posting.
Yeah. If you want to get real fancy with it, add a Thursday Thunder.
No, I love that, man. So Nick, this has been good, brother. I appreciate your time today. If somebody wanted to get in contact with you or follow you, what's the easiest way for someone to do that?
Yeah, my handles on Instagram and TikTok are Nick Sakha, so NickSakha, and then you can find me on Facebook and LinkedIn at Nicholas Sakha, and then on YouTube you can find me at Nicholas Sakha. My whole YouTube channel is has become dedicated to helping insurance agents. That's been the content that seems to get the most traction. So if you want ideas on how to help your agency, I've dropped a ton of stuff on my YouTube channel, and so I'd love to connect with you guys. If you guys have any questions on how I can be of value to you, slide in my DMs.
No, Nick, I appreciate you.
To do, I'm happy
I appreciate
to help.
you, man. This is good. I don't talk to very many people that utilize social media, and so I dig this. This was a great conversation. I appreciate your time today. Obviously, those that are listening to this, if you like the episode today, give us a 5-star review. Tell your friends about the Insurance Buzz. This is all about what we do, man. Like trying to give value, just like Nick said, to the insurance world, to you. If you want to be updated on the Buzz, text the number 816-727-7610, #Buzz. You'll get automatic updates, episodes text directly to you. And as always, time is the most valuable and important asset that we all have. I appreciate you all spending the last 30 minutes with Nick and I. Nick, appreciate you, brother. This was amazing.